Hurricane Ian devastated parts of Florida's Gulf Coast, making landfall near Fort Myers. But just days earlier, many thought the storm was heading for Tampa. I spoke to NBC6 hurricane specialist John Morales about the storm's path. John, thanks for joining us.
Sure, you bet.
So we've seen the devastation caused by Hurricane Ian, over 100 deaths. And now some people are questioning the mandatory evacuations, that they came much too late. How do you see it?
They had a certain protocol in Lee County that was not followed. Because when there's a tiny little chance of something very horrific happening, so there was a 10% chance of a 6-foot or greater storm surge happening, usually you take action, because a small chance of something horrible is good enough to make a call. And apparently they decided to mull it over. And I guess we'll be hearing more about this in coming days, right? I think it's still under investigation. As a meteorologist that tries to communicate life-saving information to an audience, it hurts when you're trying to get people to take action, but you're not seeing that partnership with local officials be working as a fine-tuned machine.
We've talked much about the cone of concern, and for a while, South Florida was in the cone of concern. And then that shifted to Tampa, and Tampa was really what everyone was focusing on. And it shifted several times from when we were in the cone of concern to Tampa until finally it made that last shift into the Fort Myers area. What lessons have we learned when people focus so much, on that line?
That's exactly what you're saying, right? I mean, when you say that the cone shifted to Tampa, what you're really saying is that that skinny black line shifted to Tampa. And it's very difficult for the National Hurricane Center to fight perceptions. Once a person out on the west coast of Florida gathers a certain perception that they're seeing on the media, everybody was in Tampa. It must be going to Tampa. And they forget about the cone because that perception just gets ingrained in their brains. And that is a battle that the Hurricane Center needs to fight, that we as their partners need to fight, to be able to get people to realize, hey, you can't just focus on that one track. You have to consider the fact that this cone is much wider and that indeed there's a chance that it might go to the Fort Myers area because, after all, Fort Myers was in the cone 100% of the time.
In the past recent years, we've seen some major hurricanes. How much do you think that has to do, or does it have everything to do, with climate change?
Peer-reviewed science tells us that we are seeing a greater percentage of tropical storms around the planet reaching category 3, 4, and 5 intensity, whether it's a hurricane or a typhoon or a cyclone, same thing, different name. These catastrophic intensities are being reached with greater ease because those rapid intensification cycles are happening with greater ease as well. Reason? The ocean surface temperature. The oceans are running much, much warmer than they were just a few decades ago because as the air warms, the ocean absorbs that heat, and we have great heat content in those sea surfaces, which are, of course, providing the fuel for hurricanes for them to become stronger faster.
John, as always, we thank you for your expertise.
Thank you.